Well, here's another beauty. US SEC sues Kraken Crypto Exchange over failure to register. I made a video about the demise of Bittrex. Now, the SEC is gone after numerous exchanges, as you know. They went after Coinbase. There's a pending lawsuit. There's also a pending case against Binance. And these are the biggest exchanges in the world, Binance and Coinbase. So they have an infinitely deep pocket, right? Or shall I say infinitely deep pockets. And they are able to put up a fight against the colossal SEC. But other exchanges have fallen where Coinbase and Binance stand. A good example is Bittrex. Bittrex was sort of one of the big exchanges out there that were very, very popular with cryptocurrency people. And unfortunately, they have fallen by the wayside. And I think the SEC, not necessarily are looking to win some of these cases legally by, the law. I think a lot of it is just to do so much damage in the psychology of traders and cryptocurrency investors, and just to put a bad taste in the mouths of people who consider trading cryptocurrencies or holding cryptocurrencies, right? And also to put so much pressure on some of these companies that they just fold under the, under the heavy weight of the SEC, similar to what happened to Library, unfortunately. So what's happening here? Kraken, one of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchanges, was sued on Monday by the SEC, which accused it of illegally operating as a security exchange without first registering with the regulator. Now, if we've learned anything from the previous lawsuit against Ripple, of course, against Coinbase, is that the SEC didn't provide a clear enough guidance about how to register, what to register for, what the rules are. So what's happened is the SEC has basically gone, you didn't register, but we tried to register, but you didn't tell us how or what to do. Can you tell us what to do? How do we register? I remember the questioning of Gary Gensler by, I think it was some people in the Senate in the United States, and they asked him outright, can you provide step-by-step guidance on what to do to register these companies and ventures and projects and stuff? And he came back with this wishy-washy, it's on a one-to-one basis. And he was really vague about his response. But then when he sues these companies, they're very clear. They go, oh, you guys were illegal. You operated securities, yada, 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 unregistered. So basically what they want, though, is for these companies not to operate, but to get stuck behind some sort of regulatory approvals queue. Much like what we're going through now with the ETFs, where companies are just waiting for approval. There's no real reason why they shouldn't be approved, but they're just not approved yet because Gary Gensler is putting them in this kind of queue. It's a power system. And the audacity that some of these companies can go and actually start innovating and making things happen, it's just too much for the SEC to fathom. The lawsuit in San Francisco federal court is the latest step in SEC Chair Gary Gensler's push to bring cryptocurrency under his agency purview. See? By contending that digital assets are investment contracts subject to federal securities law. Again, we know that that's not necessarily true, thanks to the lawsuit against Ripple and the victory handed to Ripple over this blanket statement, actually. Kraken intends to defend itself. I'm happy to hear it, because a lot of these companies just fold. I think Kraken is large enough and they probably have relatively deep pockets, not as deep as Coinbase or Binance, of course, but they should be able to put up a good fight. Also, they've got the precedent of Ripple handing, the SEC's behind to it. And of course, Coinbase's bold stance against the SEC. So that should basically fan their flames a little bit. Back in the day, they would have probably just collapsed. So shout out to Ripple and the XRP army for basically providing a precedent and a lifeline to some of these other companies. Saying Congress should decide how to regulate cryptocurrency exchanges and calling the SEC view of digital assets incorrect as a matter of law, false as a matter of fact, and disastrous as a matter of policy. Well put. Looks like the Kraken people have got the right idea. They're speaking correctly anyway. The San Francisco-based exchange also said the lawsuit will not affect its more than 10 million clients. I should hope not. But, it can't but affect them because as we speak, I'm 100% certain that users of Kraken are starting to get worried and some of them are probably fleeing at the moment, which of course will have an effect on Kraken's bottom line. The San Francisco-based exchange also said that the lawsuit would not affect All right, I've read that already. In June, the SEC filed similar lawsuits against Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, and Coinbase, the largest in the United States. Both are defending against the regulator's claims. You know what I think? I think these companies should all pool funds, come together, and come up with a unified front against the SEC, right? Get all your lawyers together, pool funds together, and counter-sue the SEC once and for all. The SEC said Payward Inc. and Payward Ventures Inc., which operates as Kraken, have since 2018 made hundreds of millions of dollars arranging crypto purchases and sales while turning a blind eye to securities laws designed to protect investors. You know what? Those investors that you're trying to protect, they made millions. The only reason why they're not making millions now is because you, the SEC, have destroyed their investments. Kraken was also accused of having deficient internal controls and inadequate record keeping, reflected in part of the commingling customer money with its own and paying operations costs directly from customer accounts. Now, if that is true, that is actually really bad. And I hope it's not true, but if it's true, it's really bad. But there is a double standard because all this stuff happens in the normal financial industry, and I don't see any of these banks being sued or closed down. Or if they are, they just slapped on the wrist, right? Failing to register has resulted in a business model rife with conflicts of interest that placed investors' funds at risk. SEC enforcement chief said in a statement, Kraken's choice of unlawful profits over investor protection is one we see far too often in this space. In its statement, Kraken said the SEC compliance conceded that any alleged commingling amounted to no more than Kraken's spending fees it has already earned. So can you see that? There's a bit of manipulation of information there, a bit of propaganda, a bit of massaging the words to make things seem worse than they were. So even the big allegation is limited to that tiny little thing, but they make it sound as if Kraken is out there basically loaning out your money and messing around with it like FTX did, right? Okay, Monday's lawsuit seeks a civil fine, disgorgement of ill-gotten gains, and a halt to acting as an exchange without registering. So basically, the SEC wants some money. That's what it is. So what this seems like to me, man, is what I've always talked about. It's sort of like a mafia system where there's a new kid on the block, selling whatever he's selling around the block, and he hasn't paid homage to the Godfather. Where is my cut, is what SEC is saying. They want their cut. So basically, all of this shenanigans, man, I can't wait till all of this stuff is over. In my opinion, I think this crypto exchanges should all come together, pull their lawyers together, pull funds, and just basically end this stuff once and for all. Counter-sue, hit back, get clear regulations, and let's get all this nonsense out of the way so we can innovate and move forward with cryptocurrencies. Not financial advice. Do your own research. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.